Well, hello there. This is Diamond from Diamond Shine Soap. Guys, I'm excited to see you today. Today, this whole entire recipe and everything that we will be doing will be found in the Patreon. I will link every single bit of the supplies and all that you need to do this inside the Patreon. Guys, the Patreon, if you have not joined it yet, it's $10 a month. We have candle making recipes, skincare recipes, you name it. I don't think I know anybody else that have as much candle stuff inside of a Patreon like I do. So ain't no Patreon like I got. Anyway, today this is going to be really fun. We're going to be making some fizzing, foaming bath salts and bath powder. Now, we can do the bath salts, but I will leave the recipe for the bath powder inside of the Patreon. It's pretty much the same. So when I'm making this, you're learning how to make that as well. So what are they? Okay, so basically what it's like a bath bomb without a mold. Some people do not like to make bath bombs because they find the molds to be a little bit too difficult. Their recipe may be breaking apart. It may be too dry. You know, it's just so many things. And then certain climates that you live in, you really can't have a successful bath bomb business because you may live in like a wet climate. It may be too dry and hot desert, and they don't hold together. Like no matter how much moisture you add to it, your environment dries out that bath bomb, and then it just turns into dust. So some people really just won't make bath bombs because of that reason. So this is an alternative. If you want to have some kind of bath bomb on your line for children, just something where they can get in the bathtub and have fun, this is what you want to do. So right here, I got a whole bunch of mica colors, a whole lot of them. I'll tell you guys what you're going to need for this project. You're going to need a few bowls. I have quite a few stainless steel bowls, metal bowls, whatever. You're going to need some poly 80. You're going to need some baking soda. You're also going to need some citric acid, and you may need some salsa powder if you want to add like a bubbling effect to it. It's just up to you what you want to actually put inside of yours. So salsa powder is SLSA, so you may need a little bit of that if you want to add bubbles. But I will make sure I put all of that inside of the Patreon, including where I get my mica powder from and all of that kind of stuff. So the polysilver 80 is in the recipe because we're going to be using a little bit of carrier oil and also the fragrance oil. If you're going to use these kind of things, you don't want the oil just kind of resting on the top of the water. You want everything to fully combine. So using the poly 80, that just really helps just getting those the water and oil combined without just seeing that oil floating on the top. Okay, and that's very important to any recipe, any kind of bath bomb recipe. I always have to have poly 80 inside of my recipe. You're going to need some fragrance oil. I'm going to be using Hey Honey. I love that smell, so I'm going to be using that for my bath bombs today. Okay, so whatever color you use is whatever color you use. There's no specific, if you want to use orange and pink, if you want to use blue and white, whatever color you want to use, it's all up to you. So I'm just giving you the recipe and showing you how to do it, and then you go from there. Okay, guys, so we're going to go ahead and get right into it. I'm going to go ahead and add my Epsom salt or sea salt, whatever one you choose. It's totally up to you. Okay, so next we're going to go ahead and add our baking soda. Okay. Okay, so the next thing you're going to go ahead and do is you're going to add some carrier oil of choice to it. I gave you guys the oil that I recommend. And, you just pretty much just put whatever you feel that you want to put in it. But it's not going to make it greasy or anything like that. You don't have anything to worry about. The poly 80 pretty much take care of the oil. So you can just go ahead and add that oil to it. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it on the side. And hurry up and mix it in because you don't want it to just get your citric acid activated. So I'm just kind of mixing it in, and at the same time smashing up some of my clumps and you know, the best that I can. But like I told you, I'm gonna not worry about the clumps because I actually like the clumps in this particular recipe. Okay, so just kind of mixing it around, and then you're gonna add your poly 80 to it. And that's pretty much the last part before you add your liquid color or your mica powder. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is after we add our poly 80, you want to go ahead and just, you know, work it with your hands so you can get it all mixed in. And then we're going to add our fragrance oil. Okay, all right, so we got that pretty mixed in and combined, just making sure that poly 80 get all up in there. Okay, so now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to add our fragrance. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and add my fragrance. Ooh, I'm up here spilling it, y'all. Y'all would get me if y'all knew. Like, why are you spilling that fragrance, girl? Okay. All right. And now what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna mix it all in with my hands again. Getting that fragrance fully combined. Okay, so now everything is mixed in and combined. You want to go ahead and separate your recipe if you're doing 2 colors. So I'm going to go ahead and get me another bowl. And I'm going to put some of my recipe in one bowl and some in another bowl because I'm going to be doing 2 colors. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to put a little bit in here. Just kind of keeping it the same, just even. I just want it to be even. I don't want one to have too much and the other to not have. Okay, all right, so the first one I'm going to make for a girl. So I'm going to be using like a pink color. Okay, I'm looking for my purple. I don't see my purple. So we're just going to go without the purple. Okay, so I'm going to be using like a, let's say I'm going to just use like a pink. Okay, and I'm going to use another color, but just not pink. Maybe orange or something like that. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit in here. Just like a half of a teaspoon. Not much. Maybe less than a half of a teaspoon. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and just mix it around. And mix it in to get this nice and incorporated. Okay. And you can add a little bit more color if you look at it and you're like, that's too light. I want it to be a little bit more darker. You can definitely add a little bit more color to it. Okay. Now mine is like the perfect color pink. Beautiful. But because it's going in the bathtub and I wanted it to give like a really cool effect, I'm going to add another color pink to it. Just a little bit darker. So I'm just using a little tiny bit of another pink. Just to give it a darker shade. This is the other one. Okay, put that in there. And this is smelling so good right now. It's smelling so good. Okay, this is such a beautiful pink. I'm loving it. It is so pretty. So we're going to go ahead and use our next bit of powder. And that's this one. And I'm going to add another color to it. And I'm going to use a green. Okay. I'm using a green. Okay. So you just kind of go through it. And like I said, just play with it for a while. Till you get that beautiful green that you put in there. You want it to be, you know, vibrant. So you're mixing it all in and getting it all combined. You can leave it out for 10 minutes and allow it to dry. That way you won't have to worry about it being clumped up and stuck in there or getting hard. But normally, no, you just add it to a jar. So, you know, that's up to you just to leave it out. Me, I don't. I normally just put it in the jar. So I'm just going to go ahead and start layering this out. I'm going to use pink on the bottom. Okay. And a little bit more pink. And I'm going to give it a tap just to kind of flatten it out. And then I'm going to come back and put some green in it. Okay. I'm doing like 2 spoons of each color. I'm going to just add a little bit more because I didn't get a full spoon on that one. Okay. And then I'm going to give it a tap. Okay. So you see it coming into layers. I'm going to do another pink. okay? So what you're seeing is I got to clean my spoon off because I used it with the Poly 80 and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to go ahead and clean it off and mix that in here instead of just throwing it out. Just getting it back dry again because it's sticking to the spoon, okay? So that's why I'm having such a great struggle with it. But as you can see, those colors are just kind of layering out. And I'm going to use green and fill it up with just the green, okay? All right. So I'm filling it up to like the fill line. And then, you know, I'm going to tap it a little bit just to see where it is, okay? So I can use a little bit more green. Just a little tiny bit. And that is it. It's about a good 5 ounces. And I like them because it got like these silver tops. I'll definitely link these in the description so you guys can have access to these as well. Not the description, but on Patreon. I'll link these in the Patreon, okay? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and keep filling up these, but you guys get the gist of it. And man, this is a lot of powder for this recipe. It's definitely a lot. I got more pink than green. So I should have just kind of did it that way, you know, just making sure I had more of the other, but it's completely fine. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and fill it up. Okay, so with this recipe, I filled out about five ounce jars, and I love the colors that they came out. I'm going to make some boy ones too, because I know my sons are definitely not having this. Like, you made her this powder and you didn't make us none. So I'm going to do that too. Okay, guys, so we're going to go ahead and do like a demo so you guys can see. This is the jar. And I'm going to put this on my tier 2. I have a $10 and a $20 level. I'm going to put these jars on there because I love how they come with this seal for your protection seal or whatever, and you don't have to pay extra for it. So, and I definitely love the tops. I love that aluminum look. So I'm going to put that on my level 2 Patreon. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of powder to this water so you guys can see. So this is what your kids get to experience when they are in the tub. You know, they get that foam and fizzing. You see it's just fizzing up, and so that's exciting for them. So the more they add, the more it's just going, you see it just fizzing all the way out the bowl. And I had to lift it up so you guys can see. It's getting taller and taller, taller and taller. And if you add water, of course you can have a little bit more action going on.